but he was the one that was, it was not a forced marriage, but they were arranged because they're all part of the same tribe. But he came to take over, and he tried to do a military coup. She tried to flip it, and David Soslan, who is this David here, right? David Soslan. You know, he's the one that connects with Queen Tamar and them. And that's led us to this whole Tamar Sheba flow. I said, this is the David Sheba story, but in a whole nother dragonfly perspective. But in this case, this Uriah that was murdered, supposedly, he was a prince, this Uriah, or however they say, this Uriah, you know, he was trying to take over the kingdom, man. He came to hijack. And David Soslan came to Queen Tamar's aid and put that nigga down, right? So he didn't kill that man, but he helped maintain the kingdom and help Queen Sheba, you know. Somebody, because she had took the Khan, or she had the Khan, so they would even call him a king consort when you talk David Soslan, because Sheba had the Khan by now. Kalifa had the Khan by now. Tamar had the Khan. David Soslan. I'm just, you know, catching the Khan up in case you miss any of these Prester drops. You did. But here, look, David Soslan, same thing. And they said, husband of Tamar Bragantini. And this Tamar Bragantini, man, don't make me go down this list of the Bragantonis again, because all this is Israel. Holy, righteous King Tamar. This is the Tamar that took the Khan as a female, as a queen, and ruled as a king. She held the tribe up. She held the whole kingdom up. And David, who is still David, son of Prester John, right? They were like they had a childhood romance, but she was arranged to another man, right? So when she did marry this other guy, she, you know, got hijacked by him. And they had to do a whole war to get him and his people away because they tried to take the kingdom. And we did a whole drop on that. So they flipped the story in the Bible. Like, David set this guy up and he was some perfect guy that, they flipped it just a little bit just to throw it off to make it look like David is some murderer. But again, Gilead is the perfection of his father. Resembles David perfectly. So that wouldn't make any sense. Which made us have to dig. Now, here's how we can connect the genie. So we got Prester John, father of David Soslan. Then you got David Soslan. Alright. But then you follow the Tamar flow. She's the mother of Lashash, Georgia, Bragantini. And Rusadan, right? Back to the Rus of Russia, right? This is going to connect to the Russia flow and the Rus flow of Georgia. And now you can start following these Georgia titles. Georgia, Rusadan of Georgia. These Georgia titles are already here in America. So this Atlanta, Georgia situation has been already here. Atlanta's Atlantis. Georgia's Georgia. All right, these are, you know, righteous Israelite titles at some point in time before they got flipped. And people stole the titles, like Genghis Khan stole the Khan, and the title of David, he stole all these titles. He stole the Khan. He hijacked the Khan. So that's David Soslan here. Right? You got the X-Lark David that we looked at. You got the David Soslan Bragantini. All these are the same, but look how they flipped the dates. Now this one's happening in 1752. Son of King Georgia, Eric Bragantini. All right. Then you got these Cardis. Does it say the wife Tamar on this one? Nah. Well, let's do it from a woman's perspective. Let's look at Queen Tamar's gene. And this is the one we flew with last time. Tamar the Great of Georgia. God. And this is how we got the real story, Prince Uri. All right, and in the script, it's Uriah, I think, right? So Uriah is murdered in the Bible by David, they say, right? If I say David, murdered, right? Murdered. Yeah, man. Yeah, right. Uriah. So David murdered him by proxy by ordering all of Uriah's comrades to abandon him in battle. This was the story. Uriah the Hittite, murdered by David, right? I'm saying Bathsheba is Queen Tamar. This is the title. Bathsheba is Queen Tamar. We broke this down. And Uriah, Uriah is Uri, Prince Uri. But now I can't make this up. You served away, right? And Uri ain't no cool character. Uri came to conquer. Uri came to conquer Tamar and Israel. That's why he's the ex-husband. So whether you're talking Uriah in the Bible or Uri over here, both of them, both of them got killed, right? And look at the timelines. You're still talking 12th century. This is what's happening. Now you say, why did he get killed? You find out that he tried to run a whole military coup, take over the kingdom. But that's gonna, that's gonna lead them to twist the story here that David murdered him. When in reality, Uri was trying to hijack the kingdom. We still talking Antioch. I'm just showing you how deep this gets. Don't let me know if I'm overdropping. I'm just, just doing a refresh, man. Yeah. Up, back, wrong one. Just looking at things, don't mind me. How did die? Yeah. All right. So Prince Uri. Prince Uri of Novgorod, they said, also known as Andrei Bolagababluski, was assassinated by a group of boyars or noblemen, who conspired against him due to his growing power and conflicts with the upper nobility. Is that right? So he had growing power conflicts with the upper nobility. And you say, well, who were these nobles? Because they don't really have a lot. He was married to Queen Tamar of Georgia until being divorced and exiled in 1188. Wait a minute. So he was divorced by Queen Tamar and exiled from the kingdom in 1188. And Genghis Khan invades Prester John, David Solomon's father, in 1202. This is happening within 14, 15 years. So he wasn't just assassinated because he was some good guy. He was exiled and divorced by Queen Tamar, so he had to do something, right? This is when you keep asking more questions, right? Okay. You can go Prince Uri, Queen Tamar, David. I'm just showing you how to surf the wave sometimes, I slow down and I do it for you, man. Sauceland, right? Which we got before. This means menace. It means the menacing look. Sauceland. start tying it all together. I'm just seeing what they got out here. Let's see what we got here. Rejected princess. Okay. Let's see if they tell the truth, man. Surfed away. Holy Righteous King of Georgia. All right, Queen Tamar. Now look at the dates again. Because remember, Genghis Khan invades the Western Shishir or the Olmec or, Israel. 1202. Now she dies about 10 years after the invasion of Genghis Khan. All right, put all this together. I'm just skipping ahead to the Uri part, see if we got some drop on it. These guys is crazy. There's little more you could say about Uri than he was a douchebag. Pretty much his first move after the wedding was to start warring against neighboring Muslims for little to no apparent reason, topping off the turd sandwich. That was his personality. This is the greatest article. I can't say no better than this. I can't say no. Man, hold up, man. This is funny. Okay. So her and David already had a flow. I don't know if they're going to mention it here, but some mentioned that her and David Soslan, they already knew each other from childhood, but she was arranged to be married to this Uri. Her marriage to Rus Prince, so he was still a Rus, and this is why they was arranged. He was still part of the tribe, but he, he was one of them covetous knockers, you know what I'm saying? He wanted the kingdom to himself, right? So and we have a heaping of slave stuffing, heavy drinking, publicly insulting Tamar for not bearing him a child. Right, all of this and more was brought to light during his divorce proceedings with Tamar. So he got a dishonorable discharge. Yes, that's right. Tamar divorced him in the 12th century in a fervently Christian nation. All right, we know we're talking Hebrew. Stop you. At a time when the church expressed forbidding this was not a mere separation, Tamar convinced the bishops to officially dissolve their marital bonds and allow her to remarry. This wasn't no play. She got this thing for real divorce. That's how bad he was, all right? So he's the same guy, I'm saying, as they're going to say that David killed in the Bible. Is Uriah, the mighty man, the Hittite. And it has, something to do with him being a Hittite. He was also married to an Israelite, and there was some type of situation against that too. You know what I mean? But man, then they're gonna say he raped Bathsheba. Now they went crazy. Now he's a rapist and a murderer. But this is theology, right? This is Christian theology. So my point is, in Christianity, whether you know it or not, they give David a horrible rap. They put it in your psyche that David's this imperfect situation, but yet his son is perfect and his father Jesse is perfect, and you try to make sense out of all this. And then Uriah is supposed to be, this good guy at war, and then you realize, nah, it ain't really like that. Since Tamar convinced the bishops to officially dissolve their marital bonds and allow her to remarry, when she promptly did, keeping the throne for herself, her new hubby was titled King Consort. King Consort. You know what I mean? So by the time we look up the David Soslan flow, one of them has him as King Consort. This one here we go. Bang, bang. Which means, he was he was there to support the queen or the King Tamar, if you know what I mean, But it letting you know we're still talking the same person. He's still the son of Jadaron, who is Prester John, or David the First, or Exilart David the Sixth Salsler of Babylon. His father is Jadaron. So this title don't come cheap, my nigga. Okay. This Jadaron, we catching them, right? Is this Jadaron? They could put a D in front if they want to, but this is going to bring in the islands and the Ossets and Alania, just like we got Anion and the Ananites. You also have a whole tribe flowing with the Alans and the Alania, the kingdom of Alania, which is also Hebrews and Israel and all that. And it connects with the Ossets. And these Ossets connect with the Amazons. And this is how you get all this connection with these Shebas who are connected with these high Amazon queens. The high Amazon queens connect directly with the Prester Johns. Yeah. The kings and the queens unite, connect. They have their system, their flow. They're at war. They're training warriors, just like in the movies. You know what I mean? Amazon queens. The Jadaron is still the Jadaron. And here he says, son of Atton, king of the islands. And you could keep going, and all this is Israel, my nigga. And Atton is also Adam. But he's the son of David Bragantune. I said, don't make me go crazy with the Bragantunes, because this is your titles as well. We're just seeing it in the Russian flow. Look at the dates, right? Who's another son of David. So that son of David is this son of David. It keeps going on. He's the father of this David, who's the father of Atton, who's, son of Jadaron, or Prester John. So when she remarried her childhood sweetheart, if you will, who is from the lineage of these Rus nobility under the Prester John, King David. So even though they called him King Consort, you already know he comes from the loins. He comes from the loins, so he wasn't probably tripping on that as long as they rock together, right? It is what it is. You got the same David Salsler, son of Prester John, David Exilart Salsler, and on we go. So his wife Tamar, which also carries the same, title of Sheba, she had to get remarried away from this Uri. But they would say, he was this good guy in the army. This Uri here is all good. But in reality, it wasn't like that. It says, which isn't to say Uri was done giving her crap. He ganged up with some malcontent Georgian nobles, and led 2 different insurrections against her. She and her new husband, whom it should be mentioned was himself a champion ass kicker. So who's the new husband? Who's the new husband, right? David Salsler. But they had been rocking with each other. All right, we're talking Tamar, the great, right? Hey, shout out to my high Amazon queens, my Aqua, stand up Aqua, holding up the kingdom, man, all the way up. So she and her new husband, this champion butt kicker, as we know, Prester John's bond, this being one of the reasons she chose him, soundly trounced both uprisings. So he put that stuff down. He trounced both uprisings soundly. We're talking David Salsler. And I think since we were just saying that, she passed away, Queen Tamar, this 1213, right? So after he did this and all this is who Genghis Khan went to war with, man. He was already known for kicking butt. I think he was on the front lines. I don't think it was his dad. I think Prester had already probably went into suspended animation, but I think this David here was the one that may have, been slayed in that battle when Genghis came, where he said he slayed King David. But I think it was David's son, Soslan, husband of Tamar. And if that makes more sense now, right? Because if Tamar's husband, King Consort, Dawi, is slayed, and then she dies like 10 years later, now you got the timeline going. Her husband, David, is the first that went head up with Genghis Khan right here. Woo. And again, she's the daughter of Georgia III. So these are the righteous Georges, king of Georgia, right? Georgia on my mind. So when we start talking Florida, Georgia lines and Garden of Eden, Georgia flow, right? When we get back into this water, this fountain of youth flow, this Antioch flow, we still talking Georgia. It's a title. And Georgia's daughter is a Sheba, a high Amazon queen, is Tamar, whose husband is Soslan, whose first husband, Hijack, is Prince Uri. And this Uri did what? He led 2 different insurrections against her, and she and David, her new husband, had to soundly trounce both uprisings, put it to a stop, right? In a marked departure from the policies of kings past after his defeat, she didn't castrate Uri even a little. She didn't castrate him a little? Okay, I know what that means. Like literally castrate? After that began her infamous policy of expansionism, a policy historian Antonia Fraser argues that was largely enacted to give the Georgian nobles' idle hands something to do. It was enormously successful. The nobles fell under her banner. Georgian borders expanded out enormously, and the country entered its golden age. Khan.